What's going on, guys? My name is Marco. Today I'm going to be doing another motherboard unboxing, very similar to the previous one I did with the Tomahawk Mortar Arctic on the B350 chipset. This one is going to be for the Ryzen build, so it's going to be on AMD's B350 chipset there. The motherboard is going to be the Tomahawk Arctic B350 motherboard from MSI, so it's going to be a white motherboard, and it's going to support the Ryzen brand of processors. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get right into the unboxing. Alright guys, so here's the box right here. This is once again going to be the MSI Tomahawk Arctic B350 motherboard. It's going to be on AMD's B350 chipset here, which to my understanding competes with the Intel B250 chipset, except an advantage that this has over that is that this has some overclocking support out of the box, and from my understanding the B250 chipset does not. You have to step up to a Z270 or Z370 chipset in order to get that kind of capability. And AMD does have a chipset above this one which gives you some more overclocking capability as well, called the X370 chipset. So back to this motherboard here. The box is pretty simple looking, I like it. Nice little touch here with the Ryzen logo. And on the back we're going to have some information about the motherboard and what it supports and what it does and all that good stuff there. It does have the Mystic Light extension here, so I guess you can plug in a RGB controller maybe into the motherboard. Not 100% sure about that. But I know some motherboards have that ability now where you can plug in, there's like an RGB header and you can control all sorts of RGBs in your PC through an app on your computer or on your phone, it looks like here, mobile device. That's a pretty cool little touch there, if that's indeed what this has. I'm assuming that's it. It has the steel armor stuff on the PCI Express slot and on the USB slots as well. It says that it's supposed to make it a little more rigid or something like that. Who knows if it actually works, right? And then it's got a USB Type-C port on it as well, it looks like. And it's got M.2 as well, which was a big deciding factor for the Ryzen build here. It's going to have that as well. We purchased an NVMe drive for this motherboard for the Ryzen build, so that'll be pretty exciting to put in there. And it has some white LEDs around it and some white LEDs on the back as well to create a nice glow. I think this is going to look really nice in the white Thermaltake View 27 Snow Edition case. So we'll go ahead and open this guy up here. Alright, let's see what we got inside. Alright, so right away the motherboard is staring at us there. So we'll go ahead and pull that out. Set that aside real quick, see what else we got in the box. Got some cardboard here we don't need right now. Alright, so here's the box, what's inside of it other than the motherboard. This is pretty straightforward stuff here, it looks like. Nothing much going on. So we've got some drivers and utilities here. So that'll come in handy once Windows is installed. Although I don't have an optical drive, I don't really know many people that do these days anymore. So set that aside there. So this is their thank you for choosing an MSI product. Nice of them, right? Register your product, all that stuff there. Installation guide, which is probably going to come in handy as far as getting the headers for the front I/O panel on the case installed there. So I'm going to definitely be referring to this. And this talks about memory modules, how you should place them. And here's the actual guide here. I think this is actually what I'm going to be using to get the case connected, not that other thing. But this is going to be your user manual, kind of talks about it a bit, and all that good stuff there. So then we have our I/O shield here, which looks really nice. I like the black and red theming there. Although it's not going to go with the case's theme much. I think we're going for more of a blue and white theme, but this looks cool anyway. And then what's left over in here are some SATA cables here. Looks like we got two SATA cables, one with a 90-degree bend and the other one is straight. So that's all we got in the box there. So we're just going to go ahead and close this up and use it as a kind of surface to mount the motherboard on real quick just to look at it, see what we got. Alright, so we'll go ahead and take the motherboard out of its anti-static paper bag thing here. So go ahead and break this tape right here on the top of it. Some really sticky tape, my goodness. Alright, here it is. Gonna set that down gently real quick and see if we can talk about what's on the board a little bit here. So obviously we have our AM4 socket right here, and these are going to be our mounting points, I believe, for the cooler. Very different than an Intel socket. I haven't seen an AMD socket since I was a little kid. I've been having Intel products forever since I've been in the PC building again. But this is going to be backwards from Intel in the sense that the CPU has pins sticking out of it that you insert into the socket, rather than you just kind of placing the CPU like on the little pins like an Intel board would be, and like an an LGA 1151 socket would be like that. So there's our CPU socket there. Much like the B250 motherboard I unboxed, that was the same one basically previously a couple months ago. This is just plastic here. It looks like it's not actually a heatsink, it's just for looks, but that's okay. This isn't meant for some serious overclocking anyway. You'd have to step up to an X370 to get that kind of capability, so not really messing with that at all. The chipset cooler here looks kind of nice. I like it a lot. It has some blue accents inside. I'm not sure if they light up, but we're going to find out when the Ryzen build is complete. So that would be a pretty cool thing there, but I'm not going to be upset if it doesn't happen. Got your 24-pin ATX power connector here, and then your CPU 8-pin power connector up there. We've got our PCI Express slot that is covered in metal like it was saying on the back of the box there. That's supposed to increase some rigidity there. And then, of course, we have another PCI Express slot here. And what looks like standard PCI slots. I don't even think I've seen those on a motherboard at all recently. That's pretty cool to actually see that still. Can't imagine what you'd use in there today, but I'm sure you could put some legacy products in there. Because to the best of my knowledge, most motherboards just have PCI Express slots, whether it's 16X, 8X, or 1X like these little guys right here. So our M.2 slot's going to be right here. It's going to be able to support a pretty long looking one. Not sure how long that's going to be. There's no denotations on this as far as the lengths. But I believe the one we have is probably going to go up to here, maybe there, I'm not sure. We've got 4 DIMM slots here, so that'll be pretty nice for expandability later on. Not sure how much RAM this motherboard supports. I'm going to assume 64 because most DDR4 boards do support that, but I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to look that up later on. But either way, we're going to be putting in 16 gigs of some PNY Anarchy DDR4 RAM right here. We may change this to the Trident ZRGB in the future. Not sure yet. We're going to go ahead and stick with this right now at this time for this build. But yeah, so let's go ahead and check out the back to see what kind of I/O we're going to have. So it looks like we're going to have a PS2 port here, 2 USB 2.0 ports, a VGA port, a DVI port, an HDMI port, a USB-C port, and then it looks like 3 USB 3.0 ports, and this might actually be a USB 3.1 port above the USB-C port, and then an Ethernet port, and then of course we have our audio, looks like 7.1 channel audio there. So that's really it for the back of the board. Honestly, I mean, it's weird that they put the HDMI and display port adapters on here, but I mean, I guess I see the point, because Ryzen doesn't have an integrated GPU like all the Intel processors do if they're in the mainstream segment like this. But I think you could put those APUs in here, which don't perform nearly as well as Ryzen, but if you just need kind of like an office computer or something like that, you would put that in there and then run audio through, or rather video and audio, I guess, with HDMI. You'd run that through there, but for Ryzen you do need an external graphics card, which in this build we're going to be using the 1050 Ti that I unboxed many months ago. So yeah guys, that pretty much sums it up. I appreciate you watching my video. Remember to comment on my videos and subscribe as well. And stay tuned for the Ryzen build. Thanks a lot.